Terrific. So, you know, guys, I thought we just kind of talk story today a little bit in the morning. I don't get to talk to you guys so often. I think at one of these meetings, I had proposed that we try to create some kind of a governance entity amongst this group, just to try to get feedback on some of the what's happening on the campus. I know you guys know what's happening, so I was thinking it would be good to get feedback from you guys. So maybe we can use that time this morning, just a little bit, get your impressions about what's happening on campus. I don't want it to be negative, so I'm gonna ask you that you frame your comments in that. And I help you a little bit, and then you just direct your comments to me. That I think that's the best way to do it. So maybe I'll seed us with a couple questions. Maybe the first question be, how you doing, and how's work here at the college? Just kind of what you're feeling, and then maybe the second question will circle back around. You know, one of the major issues we're having is enrollment, right? And enrollment's kind of been down for the last 5 years or so. I'd love to hear your input on how you think we could improve our enrollment at Maui College. So first question, how you doing, and how's things at work? So who like take that question first? Everybody gonna get to talk, so I'll just call on you one by one. Should I just call on that account, whoever's still on my screen? Wow. Thanks for nodding, Regina, because that's you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm doing good. I think work, as everyone in our department and area and what we do in our expertise know how challenging it's getting. And I think that is the great thing about it, though, is being able to overcome these challenges and learn. I'm learning a lot is what I am finding every day. And the great thing about it is I'm actually being able to work with a lot of different people on campus and making really great relationships with all of our department secretaries and other faculty. So learning a lot about the campus at the same time as far as the people here. So that's been great.
Great. Hey, Regina, add to that, what's stressing you out at work right now?
Oh, procurement. But I think that stresses everybody out, no matter who you are. Procurement is always, it's a great thing, but it's also a very complicated thing to make sure you get it done right.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Regina. Thanks for leading us up. Kathy, you're next on my screen. It's funny, Kathy's literally right next door to me over here in our office, and we're on two different, it's all good. Go ahead, Kathy, you gotta unmute.
Good morning, everybody. I really enjoy work and working at college and the environment that I'm in. Even through the pandemic, we rarely did take time off and teleworked. Actually, teleworking was not a very good thing for me because I don't like being away from the office and away from my files. But when we had to do it, we did it. But returning to the office was something really good because AC is good for one thing, and especially now. But I love being around the people that I work with, and so missing the bodies on campus is something that is kind of difficult. It's hard to not see the students and the faculty and the staff. It's something that we miss, and even just knowing that enrollment is down is hard. I do miss not seeing, not having Sodexo. So that's something that I think the absence of that is felt by a lot of us. But other than that,
what's stressing you out right now at work?
Well, procurement, yeah, like Regina said, does stress me out. But I don't know. I think there's not a whole lot except for procurement issues and other than that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Stephanie, you're next.
Good morning, all the way from Molokai.
Aloha.
Nice to see faces to names or names to faces. So I don't think I met you, Regina, but nice meeting you. I talked to or emailed Kathy also, but I'm sorry, the face doesn't look familiar. And Nicole, I haven't seen you for years since convocation, I think.
I
Over
think
5
so.
years or so, but
Yeah.
anyway, nice to see faces. Actually, I miss my working partners, with teleworking at home. I had that opportunity, I tried, but I just rather come to work. I need my files, I need a copier, I need a printer and all of that. So, and I live like 1 minute away from my home. I'm so lucky that I live 1 minute away. So, it's not a big thing to just come to work anyway. So I'm here actually most 5 days a week, although, like I said, I can do work from home. Stress is procurement. Like, if I like both of them, when Regina said that, I had to laugh because I had 5 tasks for the last month that I just can't get through it with the procurement. And, and plus it's ending of the fiscal year. So, I think we're just going to wait till the next fiscal year. But yeah, procurement, I think, is the thing that sounds stressful. But I'm grateful to have what you call that, with the business office, like a relationship, a very good relationship. I miss Patty. Now I have to make better friends with Jan, who I work a lot with, Janice Tanaka. So, and the admissions office. Yeah, that's difficult when we're on another island. Yeah.
I think Patty's coming back, but not to help on the procurement side. I think to go help on Mel guy's side, to help with the procurement on Mel's side. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So anyway.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nicole?
We've been here on campus pretty much through the whole pandemic, maybe minus that period of when we couldn't come to campus, but we've been here. I guess it's gonna be nice to see people again, faces. Yeah, kind of excited for when everybody gets to come back to campus. Lots of changes, lots and lots of changes going on. Yeah, just kind of.
And how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all
And
right.
what's stressing you out over there, Nicole?
Honestly, truthfully,
Yep.
I need an office. I'm just being honest. Honestly, only because like Regina and I are literally right next to each other, both in the same meeting, and not having my own space is difficult sometimes. Working in an environment so open this way, but I mean, I just make it work, I guess.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you for being honest. It's awesome. Lee, aloha.
Good morning, everybody. What's stressing me out right now is the parking situation, all the noise and vibrations and all that. And it's like a ghost town here. I gotta walk far, but that's cool. Also procurement issues, when there's no details given by the requesters, we always gotta chase them and then chase the vendors because they don't want to submit certain documents we need. So that's a big stress, especially when we need it by a certain deadline. Anyway, and then there's a PCDO new system that we have to train in addition to what we're doing now. So that's been a stress. I've got all my new receipts. I put them online and it's like, okay, what's the next step? So I'm learning that, which is okay because I like to learn new things. Teleworking was such a great option during the pandemic. And I so appreciate that the school offered us that opportunity to work from home and to continue to receive a full paycheck. You know, I feel so blessed. So thank you so much, Chancellor. The hard part during the pandemic was not having enough support staff here. You know, we couldn't, no one was at the campus to check out if we had this, if we had that, and stuff like that. Not having a lab coordinator to do the inventory, you know, that put us back. But another thing was not seeing the students. That was hard. And then O&M, the situation with O&M, that's kind of stressful too. You know, I know we're all understaffed. I know we're all understaffed because of the budget freezing of positions. Yeah, so that's been kind of difficult, but they've helped us a lot. But yeah, that was kind of stressful. But other than that, I'm happy that we're going to be back to normal soon. So I'm looking forward to that. Now
the new normal anyway.
I know, but the most stressful part right now is banner and changing all the instructional methods. Oh my God, my classes. Oh, so I have to sit down and figure out what new methods we're going to use. I got to track down all my instructors and say, okay, hey, do you still want your class online or do you want it online and face-to-face? And oh, I got a long spreadsheet full of that. So that's my stress. Oh,
Thanks,
another, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Another stress was, the bad part about staying home during the pandemic was gaining 15 pounds. Did anybody gain weight? Oh my God, it was terrible. I mean, that was stressful. You gain weight and you get health issues. So you gotta go diet and lose the weight so you can get back healthy. Okay.
Tell me about it. I gained so much weight. I'm doing at the Hui, they have this Ornish program, and it's a plant-based diet. So it's a 9-week program. I go on Tuesday and Wednesdays from 1 to 5, and then from 1 to 2 exercise, 2 to 3 group counseling.
That's awesome.
Group to talk, and then 3 to 4 stress management. That's my favorite class, actually. You do yoga poses.
Oh,
and for 1 hour, it's amazing, right? How peaceful what mind can get in that 1 hour. And then the last hour is spent going over nutrition. That's all I do now. When I pick up something, I read the label, say, damn it, I cannot have this. Put them back.
Oh my God, I know. Oh, you're a Whole Foods shopper now.
Right, exactly. You know, I think I've been into Whole Foods like once in my life, maybe one time. I've been in there like regular. It's
oh my God. Try the
Down to Earth. I've been to Down to Earth, Alive and Well.
They have good alternatives. They have good cheeses.
I'm pleasantly surprised how good the food is, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's working. And then they tell me, oh, Louis, aren't you excited it's working? I said, well, when you stop eating meat, because I used to just pound meat and steaks and everything, of course you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard. Rocket science, not rocket science, but still hard. So
we should put that on the menu. Plant-based.
I was telling them because in that court, my court is small, I get 6, but I think they had 100 people go through that program already.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Joyce, you want to play with us too? Me as well, since you're on. Go ahead, Joyce. You're next on the screen.
So actually, I'm fine, but I just wanted to thank everybody for being here, but especially Regina, because she's been really so instrumental in putting this together, as well as doing all the procurement for professional development. So thank you, Regina. You're a rock star here. But all of you, we really appreciate you. And I know you guys are doing way more than you normally, were your job description. So thank you. That's all.
And everybody, thank you for showing up on time, because I think the last 3 times we never start till like 15 minutes late. So I was outside, the Department of Health is here taking out all their stuff. I was talking and said, I gotta go. I said, no, I think they're gonna be late, but of course you guys wasn't late today. I was late. 1 minute late. So sorry about that. Thanks, Joyce. Okay, Kim.
Hi, everybody.
Uh-huh.
So everything's going good here. I've enjoyed working from the office, having access to all my tools and files, and the air conditioning is just wonderful. Really briefly, kind of my major stress right now is the whole reimagine deal, because we don't know what that looks like, and it's hard to provide ideas when we don't know what that looks like. And it's a little bit concerning, but I'm sure it'll be fine and we'll get through it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kim. And, thanks for bringing up that whole reimagine thing. So there are going to be more conversations, right? So we did that first one, Holomua, where it pointed out there are issues with communication. So we're trying to better communicate the admin side. And then we're going to wait for that, the needs assessment in the community. It's kind of an interesting way of doing a needs assessment. They don't do this mass kinds of surveys. What they do is they get different stakeholders together. So they'll get a group from Molokai, Lanai, students, and they'll kind of sit down and do listening sessions with these groups, and then they compile that into a report. So I think don't be afraid, you guys, of the reimagining. This is only going to be better. No one's going to lose their jobs over the reimagining part. There might be some reshuffling on the responsibilities, but your unions will protect your jobs most definitely. So if that's what you're afraid about, don't worry about that part. But I do want you guys to just consider embracing when it comes to when I mean embracing is just be a part of the process, because I think you guys have stuff to share about it. And you are definitely going to have be able to input on this reimagining thing. And it's okay to kind of feel uneasy. Even we don't know where that's going to take us, right? But the pandemic has kind of given us an opportunity to kind of look at what we might be doing for this community that maybe before the pandemic we didn't think about. I think some of the work this is that the administering the vaccination, right, is a good example. And it was a heavy load, and I think all of you probably got impacted by it. But we were in spaces that maybe we would normally not have been. But I will tell you that I've been going to these, actually presenting at workshops. Like the other day, I had a workshop with Carl Bonner, and I presented with him on a panel, and he's the economist guy, right? And he's saying that, it's amazing that Maui College went from, the Maui economy went from having the lowest unemployment rate in the nation at like 2.7% to having the highest unemployment rate in the United States at like 36% during the pandemic. We're down to about 8 or 9% right now, and the economy is bustling. He said, and you guys notice, because you guys are driving in this traffic, that on Maui right now get more tourists than there were pre-pandemic. And we know that, right? If you drive around, we know that. And if you even try to go out to eat. But so that's one of the bad things, but the good things is that people stay going back to work and this economy is better. The reason why this economy is better is because of those vaccinations. And when we started, Maui College got involved in doing the vaccinations, I was getting all kind of heat from the system about why you gotta be testing, why do you gotta come campus for that? But really on Maui, because we have such limited resources, if we were not involved in distributing the vaccination, there's no way we would have got to the point we were today. So it's not just us, but it was because of us being a part of that team that, and you all participated in that because you felt some of that stress, whether it was parking in the front parking lot or having to get classrooms for these people. You guys were all a part of that. So I just wanted to make sure to thank you guys. But what I was trying to get to, Kim, was that our reimagining, I think, will have to do with what happened in the pandemic in regards and what we do in service to this community, right? I think we've always kind of had a part of it, but the pandemic has kind of brought a little bit clarity on what we can do and what resources we can leverage to support this community. So stay tuned. I think you guys are going to be excited about what we do with the reimagining, and I do want you guys to participate. So I think Miles is coming on. Wait, Miles, we get 2 more people to go through, and then, again, you're good. Ellen. Actually, Ellen, we should save you for last since you're going to retire. And then Cassie Ann.
Hi, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I'm doing
Yep.
good, and my concern was same as Kim, the whole reimagining. But thank you, Louie, for explaining what's gonna go on. So it makes me feel a little bit at ease.
Yeah, and I like you guys feel more at ease by really participating. So to know that you can, I want you guys to engage in the process to feel like you're a part of it, because that would concern me if you didn't. So thank you. Okay, Ellen.
Hey, Louie.
How's it?
All right. Oh, so finishing out my last days. So going good. Of course, I have to work at home because they're doing construction.
Yeah.
So, and I guess there's a delay now also. So, so I brought all my files home, just in case the delay would happen. So I'll get those back to my office one day.
When's your last day, Ellen? Is it the end of the month?
Yes.
And what are your plans for the future, Ellen? Just to tease us.
Well, I guess I'm going to recharge to start. But my plans are to update my home, do some improvements there. I guess I'll be continuing to do caregiving for my mom. And then I plan to kind of take care of me as well. I kind of feel I can do better on that.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Good. Hey, and Ellen, so thank you for your, how many years, Ellen, at Maui College?
So per ERS, they said I was 1 month short of 34 years.
Oh, geez. Is it too late to go finish up that year, that month? Nah, just kidding.
Yeah, that's okay.
Exactly. Ellen, was the 34 years here at Maui College the whole time?
No, so I started here in 94, but I came from the county. I was at the county before.
Wow. Yeah, so congratulations. And we're not going to even ask you what you're stressing about because it's all going to be gone next week. So good for you. That kind of brings happiness to everyone. You guys will save the second question because look like you guys ready to go to Miles, and I'm not like overstress you guys too much by having to talk too much because today was about you guys. So sorry, and thank you for those of you. I know in my first life, I used to be one speech teacher, so I know how hard that is for people to speak in public. So I appreciate you guys getting out of your comfort zone to speak up over here. This today was really all about you guys. And besides thanking Ellen for 34 years of service, I do want to end my part by thanking you guys for all the work that you do. And it does not go unnoticed. So please continue to keep up the good work. And if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Okay, have a great day. Enjoy your lunch.
We actually have 15 minutes before Miles comes on.
Miles, how come you stay so early over here, Gunfunny?
So we had this little activity that we wanted to do about the virtual potluck.
Awesome.
So maybe if you want to stay and join us.
Okay.
So I hope everybody brought their little potluck item to our potluck. And I'm going to start first. And so my potluck item is this picture. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's a collage by Sidney Yee, who's a Maui artist. And he just recently did it, actually, November of 2020. And I chose this as my potluck item because it symbolizes change and challenges. And the title of this is called Sugar No More. And how change and challenge can symbolize something beautiful. The culture of opportunity, from the foundations of our past, our heritage, put together like this collage can symbolize the strength that we all have to look into a more beautiful future. So anyway, that's my little potluck item. And so maybe Regina, can you share yours?
You're muted, Regina.
Okay, so I copied a link into the chat, and I guess if I needed a physical item, I will take this calendar off. And what this is my son. And what I do in my off time from working here and everything else, I am a parent advocate for children with special needs, and they actually put him on a calendar. He's the only kid from Hawaii. They help kids all throughout the world, and it's with the foundation of the United Healthcare Children's Foundation. I also am a representative for another foundation in Oahu that we hold baseball clinics and basketball movie showings for kids with special needs. So I guess what I can learn from that and what I give to everybody is I've always learned that we make time for what is important. No matter how busy or stressed or tired you think you are, there's always time for something for you to make yourself happy. And for me, what it is helping the special needs kids like my children. And recently, my youngest got diagnosed with autism. So we also help that community as well as the deaf and hard of hearing children community. But just helping those that need help. So what I've learned with that is when doing procurement, as stressed as I am, I still have my department secretaries and Nicole to lean on, and we all help each other in that same sense in building a community. And then we always have Kathy and Lori in the Chancellor's office that we turn to when we need help as well. But that's what I've learned. Thank you.
Maybe you can popcorn your to somebody else.
Oh, okay. So I will choose Nicole.
Okay, so I guess I got the instructions a little confused. I was confused about what to bring. I thought it was an actual picture of a dish, like an actual food to eat to the potluck.
It can be.
representing my cultures, or whatever. So that's how I took it. And so yeah, that's pretty much what I did. So I just kind of printed up a picture of what I thought I represented, how can I even put it? Like what represents my culture, or what kind of dish represents my cultures. So I chose fried rice. So a picture of fried rice. Because I'm just a mix of all different nationalities and cultures and all mixed up. And you can eat fried rice any time of the day, Yeah, I don't know. I guess I got the instructions mixed up.
No, that actually was correct.
Oh, okay.
Can be anything. Can even be a thought. So if you didn't bring anything, you just tell us a nice saying that you live by, or
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good. Do I have to pick someone else? Okay, Cassie, you can go next.
How did I know you were gonna choose me?
Right.
Everyone, I also had the same impression as Nicole, and the dish I chose was lau because I am Hawaiian. So yeah, I mean, I know you guys all know what is lau, so I did print out a picture. Never make you guys hungry. And I guess the next person I will choose will be Stephanie.
I'm sorry, I missed out. I didn't bring a potluck because I just signed up yesterday. Shucks, and I was just on the phone helping a student. So what is it that we need to share, or culture? It said. Can you hear me? Yeah, it has to be culture or.
A dish that represents
Oh
your
well, I'm
culture.
sorry. I didn't bring anything. I didn't read that part. Sorry.
It's all good.
Okay.
Pass it on, Stephanie.
I don't know who's next. Sorry, I was on the phone. Cassie. Oh, is Cassie there?
She went already.
Okay, Alan.
Ellen.
Okay, so for me, I wasn't sure too what this meant, dish to a virtual potluck that represents your culture. But for me, I guess in terms of Filipino culture, the burial fiesta comes to mind. And then I remembered when I was looking through my files in my office, I came across a program booklet for the Kabatak conference. And that was held back in 2000, and I was a conference committee member. So that was a student leadership conference. So I feel that like things like the burial fiesta and the Kabatak conference, and I guess maybe some of you might have heard the Pamantasan conference. I guess they also have that as well. But I feel like those are like ways to promote and preserve the Filipino culture. And for me, Filipino culture includes food, so such as adobo, pancit, lumpia, and cascaron. And then things like dance, such as the tinikling, which is like a traditional folk dance using bamboo poles. So anyway, that's what I came up with. Oh, so next I'll choose Lee.
Hi, okay. I'm bad. I forgot about our homework, but on top of my head, I'm gonna choose poi. It's a traditional Polynesian staple, and it was the first taro plant was called haloa. So I would want to bring that to our homework here. Poi's ono is good when it's 2 to 3 weeks old. That's how it is in our house. We never eat fresh poi. Every time my husband makes it, it's like we have to leave it on the table for a couple weeks and then we can go in and indulge. But it's a really good staple product. It's good for health reasons. It's just full of good nutrients for our bodies. And I think everyone should eat this every day on a daily basis, at least once a day, to stay healthy and strong and, have haloa in us. So that was my share. Thank you. I would pick Kim.
Hey, everybody. So a wise friend gave me a gift, and it's a quote, and I'd like to share it with you guys. It says, "Act as if what you do makes a difference." It does.
Well, thank you everybody for sharing as an introduction. Right now, I'd like to introduce Miles.
Wait, Joyce, we missed Lee and Kathy. Hello, Kathy.
I'm so sorry, Kathy.
Well, I didn't bring anything either because I was stressing out about procurement. But off the top of my head, if I had to share, and I would have gone the same way as Nicole, I was thinking I would have brought a picture of a dish. And if it was based on my culture, which I am exactly half Filipino and half Japanese, I guess I would probably share that, in my family, when it comes to holidays like Christmas and New Year's, my family always expects me to either bring lumpia or stuffed aburage. So I would probably share those two dishes with you folks.
Great. Okay, everybody, have a great day. And Regina and Joyce, thanks for the coordination. And then Miles Joyce, you're gonna introduce Miles, right?
Wait, you leaving? How rude.
I know. I had this workshop already, Miles. I think 10 times already. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your day. Aloha.
Thanks, Louie.
So I just would like to introduce Miles Nirei. He's MS experience in the environmental health and safety field for 30 plus years. He has been with the UHCC system for the past 20 years, and he has experience in education, government, and private sectors. He has extensive experiences in training people in occupational and safety fields. In the past, he has provided personal assessment of workstations. He is available for personal consultation regarding your personal workspace. And he has, taken people to Office Depot to make sure that their chairs have fit them properly and all of that. So, that's something that he has to offer. When I was at my other office, he also came and, assessed just the whole work environment. So that's maybe something that you might consider in the future. So thank you so much, Miles, for being with us today. I'm going to share your PowerPoint and share the screen now.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for inviting me. I greatly appreciate that. But you didn't ask me to share. I feel like I'm not part of the family now. I'm left out in the cold. This is really sad. I'm gonna go home now. But just first of all, I don't like Zoom. I really don't like Zoom. I know technology has changed our world. For some of you who know me, like Kim knows me for a while and Joyce knows me for a while. I actually am a in-person kind of guy, and pandemic has really turned everything upside down in a sense. But I do want to share this though, and this is kind of works in my arena, and this is, I think, I live my life by this as well. And my father taught me this one. He says, the best use of your life is to live your life so that the use of your life will outlive your life. I think of safety the same way. Whatever I can provide to help you, then that hopefully will provide you longer than after I'm gone, right? Because one day I will be gone, in retirement or however that may be. But the idea is when I help educate people in the life of how to take care of yourself, then it's outlived me, and that's what I'm always striving for. I do believe one thing. First of all, Joyce only gave me a very short period of time, so I had to try to modify this as best I could. Also, not being present. For some of you who've been in my class, know I like to kind of have you involved in some of my talks as well. So when she asked me to kind of do this office safety kind of mindset, we were looking at possibly an ergonomics type thing, but ergonomics is a little tougher only because you can learn a lot of things, but physically to be there to kind of work with you and show you some examples of things. So what I created was this idea of a generalization of office safety. 20 years ago, we put together a program that was a safety awareness training program. A friend of mine from Aon and I kind of worked this through because we had nothing. Prior to my existence 20 years ago, there really wasn't a program. And we started to look at injuries and decided that we wanted to look at how the injuries affected our staff and how do we help mitigate those injuries so that it didn't happen again. And we were noticing there were so many body stress injuries. And as I did inspections of building, I noticed so many different things that were kind of a concern that could cause us some serious problems. So just kind of want to put this together. For a real short brief, you guys heard a little bit of bio of me. I've been in this field for about 35 years. Before that, I used to be a police officer, so I've done a little bit of everything. I'm a local boy, born all over the country, so I've had a lot of different experiences throughout the country, living all over the place. My dad was military, but I'm a Hilo High grad, so I'm a country boy, right? I went to college at the University of San Francisco, got my couple of degrees there, and actually worked for UC Berkeley for a while. So it kind of showed me a lot about education. I've been in the educational world for over 30 years. University of San Francisco, UC Berkeley, and now with the University of Hawaii. So I understand a lot of the dichotomy of the different clients that we have in a sense of the different work that we do, and yet we have very similar mindsets. And so I want to go over some of this kind of a general office safety to kind of help you help yourself. Because yes, in the past, before pandemic, I used to come over and I used to do assessments for people and help you try to individually as well as globally. Well, traveling is becoming like pulling teeth out of a cat. You know, it's almost impossible nowadays. And so we're going to try to see what we can do, and hopefully it'll open up, and hopefully I will be able to come on over and help you physically, because I think every one of your office spaces, as well as every one of you, are very different in stature, and that matters. Just to give you an idea of ergonomics, in a general sense, we in history have always said, here's your workstation, go work at it. Well, if you're 5'5" or 7, well, I had a gentleman in Kauai, 6'4", and given a general workstation that didn't fit him. And we were told to fit in this desk, and there's your station, and make it work. Ergonomics was never designed that way. It was designed so the workstation works to fit you. Well, because we can't buy equipment that way, we had to modify. So again, this becomes a little more difficult. So I want you to understand that as we look at helping you, we want you to start thinking about, how do I make things work? Now, again, we work for the state. Money is an issue, so it gets a little tighter. So not everybody can make some changes like that. But let's talk a little bit about just some of the changes we can make, and also look at some of the environments we work in. And each one of your office spaces and each one of your offices are different workstations and workspaces, and yet we kind of overlook certain things. So Joyce, am I controlling this, or do you control this?
I'm controlling it, but if you wanted to share your screen, you could.
Might be easier, because then I can control the movement of the slides.
Yeah, so why don't you share your screen? Let me see if we can do it.
Okay. I think you might have to make me a co-host.
You know, I'm using Regina's.
Okay, I tell you what, I'm just gonna say next. We'll do the old day of the old slide projector game. I'll say next, and you just move the next slide.
Okay.
Does that work?
That'll work. Thank
Being
you.
that I'm really old, that's what I know best. Okay, so next. Sorry. Keep going. Next. Oh, that's me, actually, with no hair pretty much soon. So here's a question that I want to ask you. Who is responsible for your safety? And again, I mean, I've been told by employees, by saying, Miles, you're responsible for my safety. And the answer is no, I'm not. I'm not responsible for your safety. My responsibility is to help you understand your environment, so you take responsibility of your safety. You tell that to your children all the time. Who's responsible? You are responsible for what you do. And so the idea is, we want to turn this idea to make it so that you understand what you can do. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. It was like my daughter always said, when you point a finger at somebody, 1 points forward, how many points backwards? Well, 3 to us, and therefore we become responsible. So you are responsible for your safety. My job is to try to enhance it by giving you information to, I live on these 2 words. Knowledge is king, but clarity of that knowledge ultimately is the most important thing. The more clarity we have of the knowledge, the better we can apply it, and therefore we can be responsible for our own safety. So next, please. Okay, sorry, keep going. One more time. So first of all, office safety. It often is overlooked by people because we go to work every day. It's kind of this routine we have. We go in from home, we get in our car, we drive to work, and we get to our office space, and we just go to work. We don't look at the situations around us. It's kind of that mindset. If you drive the same way every day to work, you don't notice the person next to you is applying, reading a book, eating a sandwich at the same time driving. We're just so conditioned. So the idea is, when we go to look at our station, can we observe by looking around us and seeing what we see? You'd be surprised how much there is unsafe environments in our own workspace, of things that we've taken for granted, because one, mindset has been this: I've never got hurt, therefore I'm never going to get hurt. It's kind of like, I tell people, if you've been driving your car for a numerous amount of years and you've never been in an accident, give it time. something will happen over time because the odds are against you. It just stacks up. So the same thing applies when you walk in. I teach this to almost everybody in every class I teach. How many of us will walk over a piece of paper or a pencil that's on the floor and say, that's not mine? And yet somebody will walk behind us and step on it and fall down. And I ask this question, who was responsible for that injury? And the reality becomes two people, the person who fell down, but he wasn't paying attention. And who the other one was? Us, for not taking charge of that situation and rectifying it by picking that piece up and either putting it away or throwing it away. So therefore, what I'm saying is that we have to be more observant of the unsafe situation. How many cords run across the floor and you don't take notice of it? You know, how many doors? For me, I go around looking at fire doors, and and for the VC and the Chancellor, Louis knows this for sure, I've given more wedges to the Vice Chancellors because nobody notices that fire door being propped open, which makes it a completely unsafe situation, right? We take those things for granted. So the idea is how do you survey your environment? How do you look for these things? And how do you address those simple things? Right? I mean, in essence, how many times we're in a world of electronics now, and how many cords are really laid out all over the place without us paying attention? And I bet you if you look around maybe not necessarily your office all the time, but around your offices, you will see things that are very unsafe. But how many of us have actually raised the flag and say, hey, this is dangerous, can we fix it? And then come up with a solution, right? It's all about providing that information. So we look at things like, our office surveys, we look for security. How many of us see a stranger walk in on the building and know that person is kind of looking for something and don't say, hey, excuse me, can I help you? Now, we were told to do that as politeness, but as a security measure, that's also to identify that person and say, hey, I see you, right? And so the idea is how much we do that. How many of us do housekeeping? I have offices throughout the 7 campuses that I've gone in an office space. There's a small aisleway to go through. We don't take care of our own house, right? Electrical safety, again, we talk about cords, storages. How many people have storages in your office that you have stacked cardboard or boxes up to the ceiling or have paper everywhere, right? Storage becomes an issue. We run out of places, slip, trips, and falls. All those kind of things are something we should be noticing. How many of us notice those things? And again, this is about being aware around you. I do teach the idea of safety is more than just you and immediately where you're looking, but safety is all around you. I teach my daughters this when they go out in the streets. Maybe my background as a police officer, 7 years in San Francisco, makes me very aware of my environment. But should you not be aware of your work environment as well and everything that's around you? Okay, Joyce, next, please. One more time, there we go. Is this your office? Now, mind you, you may say no, but I've seen places on your campus that scare the dickens out of me. And the reality is, does things like this happen? These are the kind of things that I talk about all the time. I was on your campus a year ago before the pandemic, and in one of the hallways, there was water on the floor. So what I do is I stopped and watched for 20 minutes. 22 people walked by the water and didn't say one thing. Now, is that a safe environment for us? No, it's not. We were very lucky of 22 people walking through that no one fell down, right? And so the idea is, can we really identify it? So part of our program is to assess various conditions and areas and how do we mitigate those problems. Ergonomics is one of them. We see more injuries of people being hurt at their desks now than we see of other things. Here's a problem I think we find that with people that are how many of you go home every day kind of going like this? Because your shoulders are sore, your neck is sore, your eyes are sore because you've been staring at a screen for 8 hours, right? I mean, how many of us don't complain to fix the problem, but we go home and complain? Now, I know my wife's a school teacher. And every night as she comes home, she sits in front of me, which gives me the clue going, hey, honey, can you do this? And so what I did was I went to her classroom and looked at her desk situation and saw a complete 100% wrong setup. So she was in pain every day. So we had to fix that problem, right? And again, how many of you have that same situation? Health and safety is about everything, and we're going to talk about your office space, okay? So here we are to try to provide you as much as I can in the short period of time that I have. Okay, Joyce, next, please. One more time. So this is what I call the ABCs of safety. One more time. There's a third one. There's a C to that one. There you go. One is your attitude. I believe attitude matters about everything. Again, we go back to that question: who's responsible for your safety? It's you. We can't get away from that. But your attitude, how you look at safety. Oh, it's too much waste of my time. I'm not going to bother with it. Oh no, that's the way it is. Oh no, that's somebody else's issue. It's how you look at your own attitude to determine how you handle safety. And the idea is to stay alert and focused, right? And understand that how you work your desk, right? Behavior. I'm here to help you. The question is, I will say something, I hope, that would be something you take seriously. Because who's responsible for safety? You are. I go back to that because I think the behavior atmosphere of that matters a great deal. How do you respond to that, in a sense, of a problem that you see in front of you? How do you handle that cord that is constantly draped across the floor, and you may complain about it all the time, but what's your attitude about trying to get it fixed? We're all guilty of this, right? Because we think it's somebody else's. And then control. I believe we have 100% control of a lot of things that are our work area, right? I think we don't understand that. We think it's somebody else's control, but it really isn't. When I do ergonomics, I first thing, and I advise the vice chancellors all the time, that I'm not there to spend money. It may come to that because if I can't fix it, but it comes to the idea is we can control by looking at how we mitigate certain things to fit without the use of spending money, right? If we cannot, then obviously we go out and buy chairs or tables or whatever the case may be. But it comes down to the ABCs. I think this setup is really everything that comes in how you look at your safety. Okay, what's your attitude? How do you look at it? And then how do you behave to it? And how do you control it? Okay, it's a mindset of that. Next, please. Keep going. So this is just a picture. So let me ask you this question. How many of you have looked at your office space and looked for things that may be unsafe to you? I'm almost expecting that most people, 95% of people, never look at their area and actually see the dangers that exist. Clutter is a danger, right? Things stored on the floor are a danger, right? Cabinets and how you stack cabinets are a danger. We're going to talk about a few of that. So I want you to survey your workspace. One more time, Joyce, please. So these are the things that what I kind of look, right? Look at you, and mind you, I think you do this all the time. I don't think this is a one-time gig. I think it's constantly when you walk in, you look at your immediate work area and your surrounding office. This is where you find issues, right? Be aware. This is a security mindset, the way I look at things. Be aware of your surroundings, right? When we walk, do we walk with our heads up or do we walk with our heads looking down in front of us? How many people have we seen walking with stacks of boxes and don't know where they're going because they're not looking and they wonder why they get hurt, right? And then document. Put down what you see that can be fixed. And especially if it's not something you can fix, if it's something that has to go to a work order, document that. Put that through the process. Let them know that we've got to fix these things. Because at least that way it goes to Mel, and Mel can kind of figure out how his work schedule and how he can get it done and what he needs to get done, right? I've seen so many things. I had a person that had a loose tile under her desk right by her chair. She never documented it and she never asked anybody to fix it. She was aware of it because it moved on her foot all the time. She literally one time stood up and the towel moved and she fell down and broke her arm because she's trying to reach down and protect herself. Should that have been avoided? Yeah, 100%. First of all, you got to look around your area. Then you've got to be able to identify it, and then you got to report it. Okay, document. So here, look around. Is this a problem? Is this hallway a safe or unsafe situation? Look what's on the far side. It's an egress exit. In an emergency, are these furniture going to cause a problem on the egress? Absolutely. Because every emergency egress should be kept clear. When I walk your buildings, David kind of looks at me and goes, "What'd you find today?" Because I would go through the hallways and I would go through your office space and look for this specific thing. Is your office safe for you to leave in the emergency? Hallways should have nothing in it. Because when the building was designed and the fire department stamped it, he stamped it with nothing in the hallways. Our campuses love to put chairs and tables out there, and it blocks the egress of you going out. This is a very unsafe situation. It took me 2 years to fix it because nobody wanted to do anything about it. But is your offices and hallways safe to get out if you need to, right? And then those situations of anything that sticks out. So if you look on the far end, it's a file cabinet, okay? That file cabinet opens up into the hallway. If somebody's pulling a file cabinet out and the fire alarm goes off, how dangerous is that file cabinet now? It's 1,000% dangerous. Somebody's going to die, right? So the idea is we got to see this. How many of us see this? Or how many of us come to work every day and assume, okay, that's just the way it is. I'm going to let it go. Okay, so again, identify. Joyce, next, please. This kind of stuff. How many of you guys see this? This is what we call combustible loading. It's unsafe. It's got more fire material than needed to be. Also, it is a workspace, right? So these are things. Is your office space like this? Do you have this situation? Do we have too many things stored that maybe we should think about? Do we really need to have them stored here? When I went to this office and asked the question of those boxes, what was the last time anybody opened those boxes? It was years. Now, we're in our educational system required to keep certain things for a period of time. But if I haven't opened that in a year, is that really someplace I should store it? How many of you have that in your workspace and you've never noticed it, and you've noticed it, but you never thought of anything else? This is an unsafe situation, and it is in our workspaces. Joyce, next, please. So I know we talk about workstations, and go all the way to the end, Joyce, so we can talk about this one more time, I think. There we go. And so we look at our workstation, and this is what happens in our workstation that's been a problem. And I talked about it a bit earlier. We are given a desk and a chair and told us to fit in it. Barbara of HR, she and I had a lot of discussions about ergonomics, and she never thought that much of it. So we went to her station and we fixed it, and now she's an advocate of it because what we did with her workstation was made it fit her. It's not workstation should be designed to reduce excessive bending and stretching. Do you have that problem at your station? Housekeeping is essential. Is your desk cluttered where you cannot work very efficiently because you've got to move things around? Again, those are real big things because all of a sudden, when you have bad housekeeping, what you do in your workstation is you bring your body in this way and you create tension on your shoulders. Never store items under your desk. Your feet should have ample amount of room when you pull yourself in that you can put your feet comfortably so it's sitting without having boxes stacked under it where it creates that crampness again, okay? Never store items on top of bookshelves. If you gotta reach up to grab something on a bookshelf and you're grabbing it routinely, every time you reach up, you put your elbows out too far and you create tension and stress on your shoulders and body. Think about where you need to put things, right? And then never leave your desk or file cabinet open. I have a work comp issue where somebody tripped over the lower drawer of a file cabinet, but somebody forgot to close it and they didn't pay attention when the next person was walking. All these little things are things that we all do. Next one, please. So chairs and desks, good lower back support. So when we look at chairs, how many of you sit back on a chair and use the chair for what it's intended for? Ladies, You are one of the people that tend to sit forward on a chair and you tend to arch your back or you slunch over. The chair should be on the fullness of your back and the lumbar support should be in the small of your back. Now, the small of your back is above the top of your okole. People think that putting it on top of your okole, no, it has to go up a little further. And if you try this, if you get a good support on that small of your back and you lean back on it and use it to support your entire body, you will notice a difference. I promise you. It will make you feel so much because it helps you support that back so it's not slouching anymore, okay? Chairs and hips, they should be level, 90-degree angle. When you sit in a chair, you should be flat-footed, okay? Your knees should be at a 90-degree cut. Again, these are just rounded area averages because people are different. But if your feet are not flat-footed, there's no support on your legs. Now, for me, I'm old enough. I remember the laughing with Lily Tomlin on the rocking chair, the little girl in that big rocking chair. Well, if your legs dangle, your blood circulation can't come back up and it'll create stiffness in your legs. So you should have your feet flat on the floor, okay? 90-degree cut from your knees to your hips. Make sure they're level, okay? I like chairs with 5 casters or more, okay? Because that gives your chair stability, okay? When I go out looking for chairs, we look for star-type chairs that give me the stability for you as you sit on it. Your desk, your standardized desk is not built for a computer. And people find me that to be amazing. Your desk is designed for you to write on, not type on, okay? And so when we do ergonomics, we look at the idea that if you bring your hands down and you put it at a 90-degree angle, that's where your keyboard should be. How many of you have your keyboard on top of your desk? And if you bring your hands down, straight down, and you kind of put it about 90 degrees, you turn it over, where is your keyboard in accordance to your desk? Usually your keyboard's too high. So what you do is you raise your shoulders up to kind of type and it puts more stress on your shoulders again. That's where you get neck and shoulder pain. So again, we start looking at your desk. We want to raise either the chair or lower the keyboard stand on your desk so that you can type properly. I use this analogy all the time. How many people of you play piano? Or how many people you know that play piano? I have a concert piano friend up in Seattle, in the Seattle Symphony, and she practices 5 hours a day. And I've never known a piano player to ever have carpal tunnel. Why is that? You would think they do repetitive all the time. It's because piano players play at a position that is very conducive for them to have natural angles, straight wrists, 90-degree cuts, and relaxed shoulders. You should be typing like you play a piano. So look at your workstation and look at your desk. Is that conducive for you, or is your desk too high? So again, we look at those things and we identify. You can find a lot of this information online, and they're all the same. But you have to apply it again to you. Again, never stand on a chair. Please don't stand. I have a workman's comp where a young person stood on a chair to get something, and the chair moved and fell down and broke his collarbone. So how many of us will stand on a moving chair? So be careful of these kind of things, okay? Again, there's a lot of things we can talk about, but in a little time. But I want you to understand some of these just general topic things, because I know some of you have done that. Stood on your chair to get something from the top, okay? So as we talk about computers, a badly positioned computer not only causes unproductive, but it also causes discomfort. We all know that. I'm pretty sure most of you have discomfort as you go home every day working on your computer. If you work with a laptop, I can guarantee you have a lot of stress, right? Because the way it's set up, okay? Monitors, usually you guys have monitors too low, right? Monitor top level should be at top of your eye set, should be very from your eye level straight ahead, because we type on the upper third of our monitors. If you put down too low, so you guys can see me, right? Or is it only the screen you see? Yes, no? Yes.
I can see you.
Okay. This is your head. It's a 6-pound bowling ball. This is when I talk about monitors where it's too low or too high. It should be directly at the top of your eye, should be at the top of the monitor. This is your bowling ball head. You got your spinal column is a pin or a stick, and your head should be held level. And everything that's attached to it is all your muscles and ligaments. And if you tilt your head forward, everything in the back is trying to pull it back over. It's trying to keep you in a natural straight position. If you stand straight, head straight, you have less stress on your body. And your monitors should be designed so there's no stress on the upper part of your body. If you have to look down or look up or even turn sideways, you are putting more strain on all your ligaments and your muscles and tendons. The idea is your monitors should be high enough so the top third of it is where you're looking straight and tight. Okay, really important because it helps reduce it. The other thing with monitors and sets of computers is you shouldn't have this behind you because this puts glare on your monitor. So your light fixture should be directly ahead of you on top. If you have to, you can turn your monitor flat. A lot of us turn the monitor so it's tilted upwards. Well, light reflects off of screens and bounces into our eyes and gives us eye strain. So the idea is to reduce the glare as much as possible by where you put your monitor, okay? And then the other one is, for me, I'm dying to come over. I've begged David to help me come over, but my boss doesn't want to get it approved. So we're going to try to work this through. So the other thing that as we go through it, you have specific questions, you can email me, you can call me. What I've also asked people is we can do video of your workstation together and we can work your station out and help you set up the assessment. So next, Joyce. One more time. Again, we're talking just general awareness here, stacking. How many of you guys have your cabinets and what do you put on it? We were told in the days of past how you store things matter because of the weight of it all and how you have to live. This also applies for you as you start picking binders off your cabinets or your shelving, is that you don't want to put the 3-inch binder on the top if you are pulling it off every day, 10 times a day. That should be at a lower level that you can just reach to pull it out, okay? If you are using those things, those are things you should set your workstation up that would fit. Again, heavier things shouldn't go on the bottom anymore. Heavier things should go at waist level to shoulder level, because that's where you're the strongest. That's where you end up not getting hurt. Again, keep passageway clear. The other day I went to one of the campuses here in Oahu, and I was in an uproar because I had 42 boxes stored right next to my fire door, right in the egress, and it had been there for over a month. No one wanted to say anything because they felt that it would have been inappropriate. But whose safety are you responsible for? Yours. So therefore, watch where you store and stack. Heavy things between your waist and your shoulder. If you are sitting at your desk and you need to pull heavier things off, like your binders, make sure they are at desk level and not high up. Because every time you got to reach up, you add strain along the whole work of your body, and the drop of that thing can cause you pain along the shoulder and can actually get you injured. So make sure that those things are in working space right in front of you. Next, Joyce, please. I know some of us have these working stools that we stand on. Again, be careful of ladders. I actually don't use chairs. If you got to climb a ladder for grabbing on something, don't do what the person is doing in front of you, standing on a top rung, right? Because you can't hang on to anything. The libraries, I know we have these moving stools, and they use them to stand on. I hate those things. One is because there's no way to hang on to anything. And I had one where the wheel, the spring, didn't collapse. And when they stood on it, the stool actually moved on them and they fell down. So again, be careful what you climb on. If you got to climb onto something to put a box away, have somebody pass that box to you. I know some people like to walk it up there together, things they can do it. I disagree. Walk your ladder first, get to where you got to go, have somebody pass the box to you to store it properly. Okay, 2 people at all time on that. Okay, next, please. The favorite one. I've had injuries on this one. How many people have cords walking across the floor because we are our electronic world? that you don't notice? Behind your desk, how many cords are sitting back there that tend to stick out? Make sure that you have them strapped. I have a campus that has walked over and rolled a cart over an open cord for the last 2 years until it frayed, and somebody stepped on it with a bare foot because they were working in the office barefoot and got electrocuted, right? So make sure you watch where you're going. Practice housekeeping. Make sure if it's wet, that wet spot on your campus bothered me that I complained to David about it, right? Somebody should be watching. Is it the janitor's responsibility to clean up that wet spot? No, it's ours as we see it. So make sure that you take care of those kind of things. And then when you turn corners, I've had people turn a corner and run into people because they're not paying attention. Please watch the corners and then keep alleyways and surface places free. Again, I repeat a lot of these things because I think people don't quite catch it all the time. And I bet I bet you this, if you go out after we're done and you walk your hallways, I think you might find a few things we were talking about. And how long were they there? I don't know. Next, please, Joyce. I hate these things. How many places were designed with electrical cords were on the bottom? If we have electrical cords like this on the bottom where there's an outlet, they should not be in the working space, and you should set your desk or table so it covers, right? Loose carpet's another thing I don't like. In fact, I don't like carpet at all. But how many loose carpets do we have that no one's told Mel about to fix? When was the last time you guys have walked over a carpet and tripped on a toe? Well, if you don't have anything in hand, not real big things, but what happens if you are carrying something and you catch a loose carpet? Watch for loose carpet. Again, and survey your workspace, okay? Light fixtures, yeah, it's not your control, but report them in. Luminescence make a big difference. You want to kind of catch that, okay? And then don't stick sharp objects. These are pretty common sense things. So that more and more, I promise you, as you walk around, you'll notice those things as you go along. Next, please. This is what I mean by drawers. If you have to open drawers, the top drawer problem has, and a lot of times in our cabinets have a lot of materials in them. Have you realized that if you only open the top drawer, that the thing kind of tilts over and falls over? You got to reevaluate what you're doing. We are now talking, and we've been talking about this forever, that if we have file cabinets and they're not anchored down, you should ask maintenance to anchor down your file cabinets. One, we live in earthquake territory, and those things do come over. But when people open up drawers like this, if they only open, so what I've heard, this is when I was younger, we had black hair those days, is that by opening the top drawer, I had to work. To prevent that thing from coming over, I opened the bottom drawer so it would balance it out. So it didn't become top heavy, okay? Because that thing is not anchored down, right? So, but here's the other thing. When you're done with the drawers, you need to close them. Again, I've seen that. I've watched people work a drawer and then walk away. Even if you are just going to turn to do something on the side, close the drawer. You can reopen it again. It takes you 2 seconds to do it. Don't leave it open, because it's like you all have kids. What was the thing about a child? Never turn away from them, because in a split second, they could be gone. Same thing applies with people. Close the drawers, okay? And then make sure you know where you put your drawers. Next drawers, please. What was the last time? One more time. Here, one more time, because I have this picture of that one. How many of you see this? This overload strip is overloaded. Okay, this is a hazard, both electrical and trips. How many of us have problems like this in our workspace? Is this our work desk? Was the last time you looked at your electrical units and wondered why you have too many things? I started to go to offices and tell people that they had to start thinking about not bringing in their personal things in there, as they were plugging all kinds of things like clock radios and stereos and all that stuff. You know, refrigerators and coffee pots and all those kind of things that go in there. They're not designed for that much work, because all those power gets pulled off of one outlet in the wall that's connected to one trip. So the idea is this thing, if it's working, all of it's working at the same time, it would trip the circuit breaker if we're lucky, or it might cause a fire. So again, make sure that you understand your workspace and you see what you see so that you can fix it. Okay, Joyce, next please. Again, the idea is here, electrical safety. The reason I'm bringing this up is I don't think anybody's actually looked at electrical safety. No one's looked at your operating area, especially if you work in an area where there's a lot of computers. I've gone to your business office and I've talked to the girls there, and with all the computers, do you know your building was never designed for all this stuff? You run out of electrical space, don't you? So you put power strips in all the time. And a lot of our buildings are not designed for this. And is this your desk under your desk? Is there ways to fix this? Yes. You can literally organize it and you can mount the power strip to get it off the floor. But what goes under there? Your feet. And as you put your feet there, you start becoming aware of it. So you kind of bunch yourself up and create stress, or you kick it and you cause yourself an electrical problem and a fire start. Most fires that occur in our buildings are occurred because of something like this. So again, are you aware of those things, right? The other one that I point out all the time is that if you have cords going across the floorway, every time you step on the cord or you roll something over the cord, you create that cord to break. If those wires break in those cords, you can have a short, which can cause an electrical fire. So again, there's a way of covering that thing. But my question to you is, have you gone and looked in your office space to see those things? Next choice. Office equipment. Have you ever read the instructions on how to work all your equipment? Or do you just assume you know what you're doing? Yeah, we're all guilty of that one, I know. Or when you go to it, are some of the equipment rolling pins or movement issues, and you have jewelry, loose clothing, or long hair? Again, do we know what the hazards are of the machines we work with, and are we capable of protecting ourselves but preparing ourselves? You know, I talk to your maintenance people all the time. The maintenance guys, because they work with electrical and all kinds of things. Should they be having jewelry on their hands because of the possibility of electrocution, or long hair, right? Is your hair in the way of some of the things like a paper shredder? We had a case where somebody was shredding paper and had long hair. She was a dancer and her hair got caught in the shredder. How could it have been prevented? I'm not saying cut your hair. That day she had to cut her hair. But the idea is, how do we put it back to know what we are doing to prevent those situations from going on? Again, it's about being aware of what you're doing and how you prevent yourself. Next, please. When's the last time somebody saw one of these things? I have a case a while ago. This is at another campus where a person cut off the tip of her finger. We talk about paying attention, right? And paying attention to what you're doing, and also for people to be paying attention to you, what you're doing. We had a similar situation on a campus of a needle stick, because as that person was sheathing her needle, her colleague called her name and she turned to look and she stuck herself. Could that have been prevented? Yeah, it's by concentrating what you're doing. If you're using a paper cutter, please don't have a conversation with somebody else and look at that person, because that finger goes pretty deep sometimes. Pay attention to what you're doing. And if you are watching somebody else do it, please pay attention not to interfere with them, because people will turn to look and answer you and not pay attention to what they're doing. Okay, so really important, okay? And then also, this thing was in my old office up in the Manoa, and I used to have a cowl with the office staff because no one anchored that blade down after they were using it. Please secure your equipment so this blade doesn't cause a problem accidentally. Okay, next, Joyce. We'll talk real briefly about this. Earthquake or fire prevention. Do you know how to get out of your office? Do you know what the fire evacuation plan says. Has anybody read your evacuation plan? I know you guys do drills every so often and just pretty animate about stuff that. Have you read any of that? Do you know where to go in the case of the fire alarm? Do you know what to do? Or is it just a documentation that is there, right? So again, remember, here's what I always ask people. When you go to a hotel, what's the first thing you should do when you walk in the room? Anybody have an idea?
Read the escape plan behind the door.
Yes, thank you. How many of you guys do that? Ah, here's the truth of the matter. None of us do. I was in BC, British Columbia, 10 years ago. 3 o'clock in the morning, the fire alarm went off and there was smoke in the hallway. And because I had to practice when I preached for my own children's sake, we knew when we walked out the door was to go left. You know how many people were going right? Because the last place they remember coming off was the elevators. And they were heading that direction. We actually had a fire in that building, right? Do you read? Do you know? Okay. Next, please. Again, we just, same thing with the last one. Do you know where it is? I've been trying to get, and I think Angela's doing a really good job trying to get this organized and the coordination, but there should be fire plans and maps everywhere on campus to tell you where you're at. I know your campus has that. Some of my campus still haven't done that, and that's a nightmare waiting to happen. Okay, next, please. Ah, here's a big one. Do you guys know where these are at? In your building? Where the pool station is? Where your exits are? Where your fire extinguishers are? And have you been trained how to use a fire extinguisher? Now, the law says this: if your emergency plan says don't use a fire extinguisher, you don't have to. But if it doesn't say that, every employee should be trained on the fire extinguisher. We've been talking to security about that for a while. I was providing that once a year, but people didn't always come out, but you should have it. Do you know how to use a fire extinguisher? When should you use it? These are important because these are things that may save your life as you leave a building. It's not about fighting fire. Don't get me wrong. It's not about being a fire person. It's about knowing how to open the egress so that you can leave the building at any time. If you don't know, I would definitely go around looking for this and knowing where they stand. Okay. Again, this is something important. Your children K-12 know exactly where every escape route, every pull station is. So make sure that you do too as well. Next, please. Again, please look at your office space. In fact, I believe the one on the right was your campus at one time. As we were looking around to see how people were storing their things. Is your office space similar where your egress is blocked? This is important to me. I've had too many times where we see people actually get hurt trying to leave a building in an emergency. Okay, that's why you have your drills. Next. We'll talk lightly about this because I think this is important. Not everybody knows who I am. And yet I've walked to in office spaces and no one's ever asked me, can I help you? That's a problem. You should always ask anybody and everybody that you do not recognize, can I help you? Because at that point, it identifies that person, I've been noticed, and they will leave most times. And then you report it. Know who belongs and don't belong. Because I used to be a cop, I have stolen more purses from your offices than I want to admit. Because you will store your purse pretty much in the same place in the lower bottom drawer of your desk. So if you don't identify people as they come through, they'll steal your stuff, right? And worse, I don't know if you've noticed that recently, we've had an increase of crime lately and it's getting really bad, right? It's because no one will notice anybody. Please stop and say, hi, can I help you? That's all you got to do. And your security will be much safer that way because that person will leave immediately because he's been notified that he's been identified, okay? And then watch where you store your things. Next, please. Oh, one more time, please. Okay, here's my goal. I'm sorry, this is very general for you because the time period I had, there wasn't a lot I could just specifically pinpoint. and I want to be on your campus to kind of point things out. But here, your goal is your work safety environment. Please be safe at your work. Look around your workstation, identify those issues, and mitigate them. Because I will stand on my soapbox, and Louis not here because he always tells me that I push this out there a lot. Working is work. It's not where you fulfill your life. Go home, live your life, but be safe. Being hurt at work is avoidable. Accidents are 100% avoidable if you are aware of your environment. So I hope after today you will look around you and identify those little things that we talked about and other things that we didn't talk about that may be hazardous to your health and your colleagues' health that you can fix. It's really important because otherwise than that, you're going to get hurt and it's not worth anything. You getting hurt is not just you pay for the injury, your entire family will pay for that injury because you can't do the things that matters to them. Joyce, next please. One more time. There. I won't harp on this one, but no one can keep you safe but you. My job is just to point out ideas and topics and identify those things to help you identify your own safety. Okay? Any questions? Any comments? I hope that you kind of think now. That's all I'm asking. Just think. Okay, Kim is asking, what is it called when you anchor? It's just an L bracket. You can put an L bracket to anchor into the cabinet, into the wall. Talk to maintenance. Maintenance can help you, okay?
Thank you. Yeah, we get lots of tall file cabinets, bookshelves around people's offices and in classrooms. And they need that. I know when I had babies, they tell you to brace it against the wall, right?
Yep.
Thanks.
We are in earthquake territory, if you guys haven't realized that. I was in Hilo in the, God, this is going to show my age, in 1973 when the earthquake hit Hilo of a 7.5 Richter. I was in San Francisco during the Loma Prieta earthquake. We had just anchored most of the cabinets down. We missed one office. And that day, we walked in the next day and her shelf was on her desk because she didn't anchor it down. So please, if you got things that are heavy, that should be anchored down. Talk to Mel or put a work order in and just ask for that. They should be able to do those kind of things. Those are pretty simple. They're not that difficult. Okay. Joyce.
Thank you so much for being here today. Did you answer the question about anchoring a tall cabinet? What's that called?
It's an L bracket. It's usually an L bracket.
Oh, L bracket. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because what they do is they'll anchor one end to the wall and one end to the cabinet, or they can block it in by wedging it in. It's a way of just preventing the cabinet from rolling over. So Mel will know what to do. Mel's really good about that.
So thanks, Miles, for being here today. It was really informative. I even got a lot of some tips, and I was looking around my new office. It's much different from the old one, so you can forget about that cluttered place that I had. So anywho, anyone else have any questions for Miles? So if not, perhaps we will see you on our campus again.
I hope so. I've been begging David to figure a way to get me on, but yeah, it's beyond his call.
So take a look at the chat, everybody. We're going to stop from this Zoom link and we're going to join another Zoom link. So take a look at that and we'll see you in the new meeting room. Thank you, Miles.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Miles.
Good morning, everybody. Kealii and I would like to just honor our civil service employees and thank you for all of the hard work that you do. And we're very honored that you have invited us to teach you some smart ways to work with Google Apps during the course of your workday. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Oops, sorry, skipped a slide. Go ahead, Kealii.
For today's activity, we're going to break it up into two major topics. Orientate everybody to what Google Drive is, the features of Google Drive, and understanding different sharing permissions, collaborating on different files, and incorporating different files into one single file. And the Google Docs section, your activity is going to be mainly working on creating an agenda that's shared between the group of you, adding additional information and learning how to make tasks assigned to individuals using Google Docs.
So let's quickly get started with Google Drive. And what we're going to be doing today is talking a little bit about what the features or functions are, and then we're going to do a quick demo for you guys. But we are hoping that most of today's session will be devoted to allowing you guys to follow through with both activities that we've designed for you today, so you can not only just hear us talk about it, but experience and learn it for yourselves. So with Google Drive, as most of you know, one of the key things to make this a smart working environment for yourself is file and folder management. And we're going to take a quick look at the My Drive. I'll show you the shared drive, the function that says shared with me, recent, and trash. And then we're also going to take a look at how to save files to a drive, saving files to a folder, retrieving files, and different categories, and organizing your Google Drive. And then the share permissions with a drive itself, or a folder in a drive, or documents in a drive. There are three major permissions that we're going to take a look at. The restricted permission, that's very private, that you can share with specific people, the University of Hawaii function, or the anyone with the link function. And then with every permission, there are three different levels of access: viewer, commenter, and editor. Then we're going to take a look at having you, in the activity, you're going to practice this as well. We're going to take a look at uploading, for example, a Microsoft Office file, and then have you convert them to a Google file. So whenever you upload what would be known as a foreign file, something that's not a Google file, it's not native to Google, for example, Microsoft Word, if you upload a Word file and you plan to collaborate with others or give them access to work on it, the first thing that you want to do is convert it to a Google Docs. If you leave it in Microsoft Word, you'll be about the only person that sees the changes, and that no longer becomes very collaborative for the other people that you're working with. Same goes for Microsoft Excel. You want to convert it to Google Sheets, and Microsoft PowerPoint, and you'll want to convert it to Google Slides. Now, some of you may be worried to say, what if I still want to download the latest version that was worked on in Google? That's not a problem. When you're ready to download the finalized version, you can download it as a Microsoft Word document, or Excel document, or PowerPoint document. So those functions are there for you as well. Whoops, sorry. Let me now do a new share screen, and I'm going to move over to showing you a My Drive. So if I am doing this correctly, I think all of you should be seeing the screen of a Google Drive. Are you guys seeing this okay? Yeah.
Is everyone familiar how to access the Google Drive from your Gmail?
Does everybody know how? Well, I'll do a quick run through of that. So when you're in your UH at Google, or Google at UH email, in the upper right corner, the Google Apps icon is where it takes you to all the different Google apps. And of course, you can go right to Drive like I've done here. And this is just, it's got a few folders in it. And I want to really highly recommend that when you create folders and files, especially when you need to collaborate with others, that you use really smart naming conventions, something that's very easy for everyone to understand. And if you work with the same people a lot, try to come up with a system that's consistent across the board. For example, many of you know that our courses start out with an alpha and a numeric number, right? Like you see here, BUSN 159 and the samples CRS 100. All of our courses start out that way. So that's like a naming convention or system that's used that everyone is familiar with. So for those of you that collaborate with each other a lot, you want to come up with a system that is a smart naming convention and that's consistently used, that everybody uses. So whenever you share a folder or share a file, that takes the guesswork out of what you're doing, and it makes it really makes your workflow smart, because you remove barriers of misunderstanding or barriers of not knowing what the folder or file purpose is. If you can start with really smart naming conventions, that really makes your workflow good. So I think all of you know how to create new folders, right? Am I assuming correctly for that? The other folders in Drive would include, the My Drive is your main one, and that's the default that you land on. But there are also shared drives that I think many of you have probably been familiar with. Just a keynote, when you put things in shared drive, it pretty much becomes sort of property of UH, because it goes into this UH shared drive permission level. So if you have any work that you really want proprietary to yourself, you can leave it in your My Drive and then just share a folder with someone else. So if I wanted to share this BUSN 159 folder with Kealii and not have to use a shared drive, I would just right click on it, click share, and then add him. And then you can send him a message as well. So when you add people to, or groups, so if you have a group created in your Google at UH, you can share it with a group. You can add a message, like adding you to my folder, and then you can set the permission level. Viewer, commenter, editor is the highest level. If you allow someone to comment, they can view your document or your folder and add comments in it, but they cannot change or edit any content. Viewers are only able to view, they cannot add comments, and they cannot edit. And then you would send a message. Keep in mind, you don't have to notify people. So if you uncheck this and just click share, he'll be added to the folder, but not receive a message. Most people want to send a message because you want to notify others, hey, I've already created this folder for us to work in for this particular task. And then you don't have the problem of redundancy where Janie and Susie both create folders and then both start creating files, and then you have two separate folders that can't be merged, different files, and you have to work at organizing and deleting what's not necessary. So that's one of the easiest ways to do that. The shared with me option, anything that anyone shares with you gets listed in this option right here. So this particular file recently was shared with me, and I can find it here. So how many of you have had someone share a file with you and then you either delete the email that it was shared with you, or you forget the name of the file and then you have a hard time finding it? That's me. I'm guilty of stuff like that. Just go to the shared with me option and you'll see a whole list of files that was shared with you. It may not be the best list. It's usually done chronologically, so you can see when it was done, and then you can find it there. The other quick way to find files is through the recent function. So any file that you've opened, so even if someone shared a file with you and you've opened it recently, you can likely find it here. And this is, for me, sometimes easier because it's shared, it lists it chronologically as well. So anything that I've most recently worked on, I can find near the top of the file. The starred option is, I use this quite a bit. When I'm working on different projects, what I tend to do is I add that folder to my starred list. And because I have a really long list of files and folders in my Drive and shared drive, I sometimes only want to quickly get to something. Maybe I have a folder that's kind of buried deep in my hierarchy of my files and folders, and I want to be able to quickly get to it just for when I'm working on a project. Like Joyce is working on Civil Service PD Day, she might want to star her folder for that, and it will be listed here with a star on it. So you can just put like 2 or 3 different folders or files that you're working on currently and have easy access to it. I use this quite a bit, especially if you've got a long list of things to work through. Of course, the trash. There is a new function with Google that anything 30 days or older now automatically gets deleted. It used to stay in your trash folder until you deleted it, or if you reset your settings to delete it after a period of time. But I'm sure Google is probably trying to conserve space. So what they do now is they actually just delete it after 30 days. You can see the amount of storage that you're using. And right now, this is sort of my demonstration email or Google at UH email. So there's only 84 megabytes being used. Currently, we have an unlimited amount of storage with Google at UH. And I say currently, and I emphasize currently because I don't know, I don't think anybody knows how long that's going to be. So there's like this unlimited storage space. You can upload videos. I do that all the time. I store videos and transcript files in my drive. But I'm not sure if there may be down the road a point where Google decides that they have to limit the amount of storage. But at the moment and for now and in the near future, our storage limit is unlimited. So you don't really have to worry about the size of your folders and things. I like to try to keep them clean, but again, you don't have to worry. So if you're having to help someone store video files, you would be able to do that. You have a lot of space for that. Are there any quick questions that you might have in relation to what you do every day with Google and Google Drives?
Hi, Laureen.
Hi, Kim.
So my drive versus shared with me, who owns those things and can you share them with other people? So like if somebody shares a file with me and I wanted to share it with somebody else.
So it depends on your level. When
Okay.
you create a folder and you create a document or a spreadsheet or anything like that in Google, you're what's known as the owner. So you can share your folders and your files. And I'm talking about my drive for the moment. Let's just focus on my drive. If you share that with someone with editor permission, they can do pretty much everything that you can do. But if you delete the file as the owner, it also deletes it for everybody else. So if you're working as a group and you're working on something that might be sustainable beyond the life of you being here at Maui College, or, God forbid something happens and we can't work for a year, or, we get sick or an accident happens, and you're the only one that sort of has control of the file, I would recommend that you create sort of a departmental Google account that might be shared. You have to really think about all the functions. And in fact, I'm moving all our DL committee files from my shared drive, and I've created a DL committee department, Google at UH, and I'm going to be migrating all the files there because I'm not going to be the committee chair forever, right? And I want to be sure that it's sustainable and people will have access to everything for as long as necessary. With shared drives, there are different levels of permission, and I'm going to just create a test folder and let's see, let's call it Civil Service Day. And I'll call it 2021. Create. We'll do this real quick so we don't cut into Kealii's time. So now I have a shared drive folder that I call this, and it's only me. And I can actually manage members. So there's a few more functions that are available in the shared drive. You can manage members, and then you can give them different levels. So if I wanted to add you, Kim, to this, there you are. I can either make you content manager, where you can help add, edit, move, or delete files, a contributor where you can only add and edit files, a commenter, or a viewer. So in shared drive, there's a few more levels to consider. If I make you manager, you can pretty much do everything that I do. So if I say add, adding you to our shared drive folder. And I send this because I'm going to give you a notification. You're going to be able to jump into this. And now we can see that there are 2 people in this shared folder. So if I wanted to add everybody else, go to manage members and I add Regina. Where's Regina? Cornel. And I want to add Nicole. And I want to add Kealii and Joyce as an example. I'm not going to add everybody because then it's going to add it to your emails and then you may not want this in it. But you know, you can add as many people as you want, and then if you want to give people different permissions, then add, say, Regina and Nicole at manager, and then Kealii and Joyce at content manager. You can do that, just add them separately. And then they would have access to the folder and anything in the folder as well. So whatever you put in that folder, the permission level you give them at the folder level becomes what is inherited within the folder itself.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So all the documents that are in that one folder will be accessible by whoever you add on as a shared folder, you know.
Right. Because so what
With
you
the
do is you set up the
permission,
folder to
yeah.
have those group of people that you're sharing everything with in that folder.
Mhm.
So, you know, like other issues of, you know, sharing something where one person doesn't have access to it. Those are kind of the common things that always happens when we have to put together meetings and things. So this is definitely one way to have to avoid, you know, those additional sharing
Right.
issues.
Mhm.
And you could just say, go to our shared folder, and you can do the same function. You can do it in your My Drive if you create a separate folder, like I said, and
Mhm.
give them those permissions to edit or comment. It just won't be, it's just 2 different drives. So just think of your office with 2 different big closets. You know,
Mhm.
which
Personal
closet am I going
closet,
to
yeah.
put it in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Ellen, Cassie, Lee, or Kathy?
I have a question.
Yes.
How about you share a link on an email? Like I've seen some email address where they said check the drive here, and then there's just link. How do you stick that into the email? A Google sheet?
In
Or,
an email, like sharing the link to a folder or a file?
yeah, like we're gonna have a meeting, and then there's a agenda, and then we'll put the please see agenda, and then there's link and underline, and you just click on that link. There's no name, it just says link.
Yeah, so you know what? Let's save your question for when we do the activities, because it's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
sort of fall in line with what we're
Okay.
doing. So yeah, don't let us forget about it. So
Okay.
thanks, Lee. So what I want to do right now is give this over to Kealii to just quickly review the Google Docs things, and then we want to have you all do the 2 activities that we've created for you, and then save as much time as we can to answer any other questions that you have. So we're going to implement active learning for you guys and have you practice what we're going to sort of demonstrate, and then answer and address as many questions as we can for you. Does that work?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, Kealii. Let me go back to the presentation.
Set up. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, okay, there we go. So within Google Docs, it works like a regular word processing program, but because it's in the cloud and there's a collaborative layer over Google Docs, that's mainly what we're going to talk about in this section. Okay. Within Google Docs, you're able to add comments, and within those comments, you're also able to assign a task or an item on that particular list, for example, an agenda item or a group collaboration of things that need to be done by a certain time. You can actually connect someone to that task by using this plus sign and typing in their email address or their name, and it'll come up in the list, and I'll show you that in a little bit. The next feature is regarding the different edit modes. Within sharing a Google Drive, so Google Drive document, either a Google Doc, PowerPoint, Google Slide, Sheets. There's all these different levels of editing modes. So editing is when you are in there changing everything, delete things, everybody can see what's being deleted, what's changing. Suggesting mode would be used if you don't want anybody to change the wording, but you want to have control over the final draft. For example, if Nicole, if you're the one that has to put the final agenda together, and you have what you have to put in, but then you want other people to add in their individual points, you can make it as a suggestion sharing, and that'll allow everybody to kind of just put in their comments, and then you can approve those final comments once it's ready. The viewing mode for sharing is when you want somebody just to be able to view the final document that's been completed. You don't want them to put it in comments. You don't want to have any editing going on. It's ready to go. It's out in the world. Everybody can take a look at it. Now, within those viewing, sharing, different privileges, there's different levels of how to share those documents. Sharing it restricted, sharing with a link, sharing it with required UH login. Okay. Next part. We're going to talk about formatting. So within Google Docs, you have different types of formatting. Some automated formatting features in Google Docs allows you to create table of contents. There's also features to add those links into your documents, to other files, to shared documents, to other websites. So for example, if we're like Lee said, we talked about adding a link to an agenda file and then sending that email with that link included in it. There's some steps to it, but we'll show you how to get that done. The document outline helps you to automatically see what are the different sections in your document without having to scroll through the whole document. And then you can create reference pages. These are good for students who need to be able to create like a full paper with a list of references at the end, different ways to do that. Another big thing that's really important regarding sharing and collaboration is the different version histories and being able to restore a previous version of a document. So if you're collaborating on a document, then all of a sudden one person goes in and somehow selects everything, pushes the space bar, it's gone. They don't know, they leave, you guys come back in, it's gone. There is a way to retrieve the previously saved document of a certain point. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay, all right, let's get into let me show you where some of these features are first before we get into the activity. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. There we go. Okay, so within your Google Drive, creating a new basic document is easy as just creating a file, go to document. You can either use a blank document if you want to format your entire document by yourself, or you can use a template to create your document. Ideally, you want to have something that will fit your theme and how you want to design it and add some of those touches that will work for you. But for a blank document, here are some of the features that we talked about earlier. So within the document, you have different levels of formatting, and that is showing up under this little thing right here. This is what helps you to create a document outline that you've seen in some of these PowerPoints. I mean, some of these shared documents, okay? All right. So agenda, part 1, part 2, part 3, okay? To make this outline right here, use one of these formatting sections right here. So the larger the item, the higher in hierarchy you're gonna have it. Basically, you wanna have one title, you wanna have one subtitle. You can have multiple headings within a section in a document, multiple heading 2, heading 3 and stuff, but just be consistent in the way that you use these tools, okay?
And only one heading 1.
One heading 1, okay, only one heading 1.
And these are like ADA compliance practices and
so as you see, as I format each one, you see how it shows up on the side? And you see how it's also kind of tucked underneath? That shows the hierarchy of this section. So it's sort of tabbed in step like that, right? But what happens is because you formatted it with, you know, these pre-formatted choices, your document outline starts up right here. So some ways you don't have to make a table of contents. This can be your table of contents, just as long as you choose the right formatting for it to show up on the side. Okay. Let's see. So assigning a task works by selecting a piece of text on your screen. And then you have this down here, this comment page, this comment little button. Okay. Make it bigger. So this is where you can say assign to Laureen. In the instructions, we say put a plus sign. Previously, it was use an @ sign, but the @ sign kind of looks weird, but you can also use a plus sign. So plus, see how the list of people come up? @ also works, but I'll show you the difference between the two. They both work the same way, it's just that one looks better than the other. Okay, so I want to assign part 1 to Laureen. Okay, there she is. Now you see there's this other box that shows up, assign to Laureen and assign. So now there's all this other information that comes up. Because Laureen doesn't have access to this document originally, because I'm assigning to her, Google Docs is being smart enough to say, hey, you know what, she doesn't have access to this document. Do you want it to be able to be shared with her? So some of those sharing things show up right here. But I only want her to be able to comment on it versus edit, right? So I want her to comment. So she'll get an email eventually that says part 1 has been assigned to her. Once she gets that email, she'll be able to get to the link and then open up the document and edit the document or comment on the document. We can add also additional threaded messages, set the time for the meeting. Okay. And this is a way you can keep track of some of your collaborations based on what parts of the document you need help with. Now, version history, oh, sorry, edit modes. Okay, edit modes really show up only when you're in this little view right here. This menu right here shows what your final will be when you want to send it out. This should show your suggestion features. So this is how like Laureen would see it because it'll have her as a commenter instead of an editor. Editing would then allow you to actually get there and type. So those are different versions, ways to see the different versions of how it'll be shared.
Kealii, show them how to resolve when the task is POW and then how to look at the history of those tasks.
Yeah. Okay, so say Laureen has completed the task and I'll say, oh, she contacted me, she did it. Okay, we're done. Now, how do you know for sure, because the comment's gone, that she actually did it, right? Did you remember to put it in or not? But there is a way to figure out where all the history is. That is right here, yeah? So this little, it's like a little arrow pointing up button. This is a feature that shows who you shared it with, who's actually opened it, and what are all the different comments that has been, you know, added in or resolved or something like that, okay? One good feature about this is when we do an agenda that we send out to everybody, and we wanna just kind of just make sure we sent it out and people who we want to see it, opened it and took a look, you can actually see who opened it up by clicking on, you know, viewers. So the shared people are the people that you're pretty much collaborating with. All viewers are people who click on the link when it's been sent out and opened up the document. So that actually means they opened up the email and they opened up the agenda and looked at it, right? So you'll have a list of who actually has, done that part of looking at the document. Okay, now let's go to versions. That's the same area for versions, yeah?
Actually, before you do that, I just want to let everybody know, because I think this will be helpful for you guys. Kealii, that comment box to the right of where you're at, click that little icon. Yeah, click that one. You can open comment history for a quick view. And if you ever need to reopen something, let's just say I didn't finish it correctly, so Kealii needs to reassign it back to me with another note that says, no, Friday is the wrong time, we need to set the meeting for Thursday. He can add another comment that reopens that task or comment for everybody to view, and then we can resolve or close it as well later. So it's not like it goes away forever. If you ever need to open it again, reactivate it, reassign it, you can do that. And you can quickly view all the history of the comments with that icon. But to view version history, you can go to the file in the top menu, file, and then version history. And then you're going to want to click see version history. So you can see every keystroke and the time it was done. So if Kim were to type in the document, I don't know what I'm doing on Sunday at 2 in the morning, and then deletes it, if you have editing access, you can go to version history. It'll show you everything that she's typed and when. I use this with my students for assignments, and I grade them based on what they typed closest to the scheduled due date. So if Regina said, Nicole, I need you to work on this, and Nicole said, I did, and then Regina goes into version history and it said, but Nicole, I don't see where you did it, then you can, and if you've deleted something, right, you can always restore it. So if I created a file and then inadvertently deleted a paragraph and decide I want that paragraph back, you can do one of two things. You can go into version history and copy just the paragraph that you need and take it back to the current version, or you can restore it to that point in time of the document.
That's way better than Control Z, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
I know a couple of times I had a shared document and then somebody put in like a whole paragraph in it, but then somehow they didn't realize there's more stuff underneath it. They ended up deleting everything below the part that they were supposed to insert it in. Had to figure out, oh, there's got to be a way to like back it up or go back to whatever was there before. So yeah, version history was able to, go back and see the content that was deleted, put in their stuff, and then put in the stuff that was supposed to be there.
Kealii, can you just show them what it looks like to suggest and what they're going to see? Go to suggest mode. So if you're working on a paragraph and all of you are wordsmithing something, but you just want to see, Kealii's suggestion, it'll show up in green like this. So I don't like the word agenda, and it'll show up in green, and to the right, you're going to see a comment. And just like in Microsoft Word, how you can track changes, right? You can accept or reject changes in Microsoft Word. This is exactly what the suggesting mode does for Google Docs. So if he decides, yeah, I want to accept this recommendation, then he will click the check mark. And if he doesn't want to, he would click the X. So anybody that has editing privileges would be able to do what Kealii is doing. If you have just suggesting privileges, you can sort of change what you've put, but you can't really change what somebody else has put in it.
And if you go to editing mode, you still see the comments and things like that.
Yeah.
But
so
I don't like this part, so we get rid of that, and then it stays.
let's have you guys do a couple of activities, and then let's make sure we have some time to address your questions and think about your normal workday and how the flow goes and any types of tasks that you guys are doing. If you have any want ideas on how to do anything, we'll do our best to help you with that. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you in chat, so if you don't have your Zoom chat open, please open your Zoom chat. I'm pasting a link for the activities doc that has the instructions. And so what we're gonna do is have you do two different activities. And the first one will ask you to create a Google Doc, share it with others, and then we're gonna share a file with you a little bit later in this activity, have you upload it and convert the file. So you may wanna create, like in your My Drive, just create a generic folder like civil service PD activity or whatever you want to call it, to store all your things in so you can practice the organization part of what you're doing. And if time permits, I'll show you how to organize files that have been shared with you and how you can organize it. It's really the same way that you use your desktop computer when you want to save a file. It's done the same way in the cloud, but if you want to practice some of those things, we can do that too. So the instructions, the first activity asks you to create a Google Doc, share it with others, and convert a file. So the scenario is that you're preparing for a meeting with your colleagues, and one of your colleagues has sent you a PowerPoint presentation for a guest speaker. Accomplish the following steps. So you're going to go to Google Docs, and you're going to create an agenda, and you can either create one from scratch and just say new Google Doc, or if you want to click File and then New and select one from a template, look for one that says Meeting Notes, because there are several templates for an agenda. And we're not expecting you to fill it out completely. This is just for practice. And then you're going to organize or save that to a shared folder. So again, the recommendation is Work Smart with Google Apps, but you can name the folder anything that you want. And then when you're done with steps 1 and 2, we're going to share a file with you and help you practice converting a Microsoft file to a Google file. So go ahead and get started. Does anybody have any questions for this? And let us know when you're done with step 2, and then Kealii has a file to share with you. For those of you that want to practice moving your file agenda to a shared folder that was already created, I'm pasting a link here. And as long as you're logged into your Google.UH account, you can save your agenda to that folder. So if you don't want to create your own and you just want to save it to a folder that was already created, go ahead and do that as well.
And I think I was able just to share the PowerPoint for the activity in the chat.
And that's after step 2. And as a heads up, when you get to the part where you upload the PowerPoint, you're going to upload it to the shared drive to the link that I shared with you. So we want you guys to kind of practice creating your own folders and then maybe uploading and working in a shared folder as well. So we did create a folder and share, and we are allowing anyone with a UH email to add content and work in that folder. So you're going to upload your PowerPoint into the shared folder and then convert it. And then you're going to rename it to make sure you understand which is your file.
Hi, sorry, I'm gonna step out. I have to go get lunch. My husband is gonna be dropping it off for us. Be right back.
That's fine, Regina. If anybody needs us to sort of walk you through any of this, let us know. We're happy to do that. Just take the mic and help us help you. All right, someone is asking about the Google Docs part. Kealii, you want to do a share screen and do steps 1 and 2 maybe? Demonstrate steps 1 and 2, and the rest of you can keep working. But if you need a review of it, you can look at the share screen.
For activity 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you got your Google Docs. So we're going to use a template that Google has. Let's go here. Okay. Google Docs from a template. I think meeting notes. Probably down towards the bottom. There we go. Choose this first one. So there's that way to do it, or there's also, a way to go file, new, if you're in a current document, new, and then new from template, brings up that same section.
Okay, I'm there.
Okay, now, next part is, we're gonna rename it first, I would say, just so you know which one it is. So we'll call this, okay. The next step is we're going to save this file and move it to our shared group WorkSmart with Google Apps folder. Okay, so we have to go back to your drive and find where this thing is. Because I created it in my drive, it is down somewhere. Let's just do a quick search.
You can save it and move it right from the doc too.
I'll show this way instead, or where's
I usually do it right from the document.
Oh, okay. So we'll go share.
I go file and then
and we're gonna add here, yeah, move it.
Yeah.
Okay, so move it. So now we're moving it. I'm moving it outside of my personal drive to that group shared drive. How do we find it?
It's
We
a
go
shared
back.
folder. It's not really a shared drive. It's a shared folder.
Oh, it's a shared with me
So
then?
the link that I put in chat earlier, if you guys open that link, you'll open the folder that I shared that you'll have access to. Or you can create your own folder, whichever you prefer. I didn't want to make it too prescriptive for you guys.
Where does it go when we open that up? Shared with me?
It goes shared with me, but you can organize it. And what we're doing right now is you're organizing it and putting this document wherever you feel is going to work for you, like how you organize your computer desktop on your desktop computer. So, but you can go to shared with me and look for it. Now, the only catch with this is because I didn't add your emails specifically to the shared folder. The permission of the shared folder just says anyone with UH email has access to it. And so you can click the link that I gave, and then that becomes part of your shared with me list.
It does? Okay, let me try.
It should, yeah. So the link for that shared folder.
Okay, I click and all I see is WorkSmart with Google Apps.
Yep, that's the folder.
And it should be blank right now.
It's very, okay.
Yeah, it should be blank right now for you and for everybody else, unless other people have added to the folder. If other people have added to the folder, then you're going to see other files in that folder.
Okay, so after this, he's in the document. I'm in my document. I got it from a template. Example. Okay. Right here, where do I move this to the drive?
You're going to move it to a folder.
So
it's already in your drive. So actually, Lee, let's have you do a share screen because this is a good opportunity for maybe others to see as well. Kealii, I'm going to stop your share screen. And then Lee, go ahead and click the share screen icon in the bottom of your Zoom screen, and then select the window that shows your Google Drive, and we'll walk you through the steps.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and look at your My Drive. Go to several tabs to your left and just show your My Drive in your browser tabs at the top. No, at the top, see the tabs. There's one that says My Drive further up. The
left or right?
The tabs of your browser is near the top of your screen.
Sorry.
Yeah, those. Yeah. So go to the left. Oh, yep, there you go. So shared with me, you should see the WorkSmart. Now that you've clicked it open, have you clicked it open?
Share with me. Where
Yeah,
are
it's
you?
not showing up.
Nope.
You know what? Let me do it this way. I'm gonna officially add you guys to that folder.
Yeah, I can't find it either.
I think it's civil service it's shared under. Is it?
No, not really. Okay, so I'm gonna add Lee and Kim Gray and Nicole Vida and Ellen Coffee and Regina. I know she's not here, but she may want to see it later. Who am I missing? Let's see. Kathy and Cassie. Kathy, Cassie. All right, so I'm adding all of you to the shared folder with editor permission. So now if you go to shared with me, kind of refresh that, it should show up in your list. And you'll also get an email, but you can go to shared with me and refresh that page, Lee.
Right up
Got
here.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kim. And the folder name is WorkSmart with Google Apps. So you might have to page down.
Is it? Nope. Where are you?
It's before your individual documents. I think it's
Yeah.
sorted by folders at top and then
Oh,
files towards the bottom.
oh, that's great to know. Okay, wait. Folders on top.
Yeah. There it is. The last
There it
folder on your list.
WorkSmart. There you go. So if you open that up, this is where you're going to move your file. So go back to the file, your agenda file that you were working on.
Right here.
Okay, now click File.
Oh, also change the name.
Oh,
I did.
yeah. Good
Example
idea.
agenda.
Yeah, put your name inside there.
Yeah, put
Where?
your last name and then first name
Where?
in
Here?
the front of that.
Oh,
In
okay.
the front of that. Yeah. Put your last name and then first initial. Just so in the folder itself, we can distinguish whose file is whose. There you go. And then enter it there. File move. And see where it says My Drive?
Yeah.
The easiest way for you to go find the other folder is to click the left arrow to the left and look for Shared with Me, and then click that arrow and then page down and look for the WorkSmart folder. There you go. Select that folder and then move here. So,
What's the part?
and then, yeah.
Nothing.
Move.
Nothing.
Yep, just, yep,
Cancel.
it's just telling you that anybody in that folder is going to have access
Okay.
to it.
And now I can just go into my drive and see if it's there. Is it this one? Ta-da! Hey, Gray, you're good. She's in there with her meeting notes. Thank you, guys.
Yay! Thank you.
Okay, that's it. What's next?
So Kealii shared a PowerPoint file in the chat, in the Zoom chat. So download that file to your computer and then rename it so that your last name and then first initial is at the front. And then you're going to upload it to this very same folder. So now you're uploading a file to the folder.
Link copy. Paste this link to your browser. Is that what we got to do?
Nope, you should download the file that's in the chat. So if you click that and just say download to my desktop.
It doesn't work.
Let's see.
It says link copy. Paste this link in your browser.
Huh.
Oh,
Kealii,
I just go into I went into my browser and here it is. Okay.
Yeah.
PowerPoint shows up though when you did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I the only one that had that?
So everybody else, feel free if you're done with activity 1 or if you have any questions, please let us know. But if you want to, feel free to move on to activity 2. And if you'll notice the document outline in this document that we shared with you, you can easily navigate between sections of the document. And that's because we use the styles formatting to auto-generate either if you want to add a table of contents, but it will auto-generate the document outline for you. And it serves as a navigation tool, and it's very interactive and makes your work smart. So if you want to move on to activity 2, and we've created a Google Doc agenda that was shared with you, and we're asking you to add an item to the agenda, and then you're going to assign the item to any one of your colleagues in this webinar. And then when you receive an item that was assigned to you, you're going to reply to it and then resolve it. So I'm going to take a look at that document to see if we got any activity going on. Not yet, but feel free to start on it whenever you're ready. We only have a few more minutes left, and I was hoping we could get through some of this for you guys. Kathy and Nicole, are you guys okay? Do you have any questions?
I'm
Ellen and
good, thanks.
Cassie?
Sorry, I'm still trying to like go back and forth. You know, sometimes work still can stop. Yeah.
Yes, we totally understand. That's why you gotta learn these things quick so that you can multitask as you always do. That's
But
why
this is so helpful. I mean, Google Docs and Google Drive is so useful. Totally.
Yeah. And if you guys feel like this wasn't enough and you need another like training session, we can talk about that later.
It's a great idea. I think I need a beginner class, but it does seem very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Hour 15 minutes sometimes doesn't really get it all done in time.
So when we're doing, I'm doing the presentation.
The PowerPoint?
Yeah, and it's just rename.
Yeah.
Do I do it? Everyone else is here. Do I need to copy this and then rename it?
Yeah, make a copy of it.
Yeah. Okay, I figured.
Make a copy of it and then move it into that shared drive.
Okay. And then I can change the name from there.
Yep.
Everybody's so quiet. You guys all pow. I'm the only one. Everyone's all done. Convert the Power Slides to Google Slides.
Okay, I got this.
Did we learn that?
I think though, because we shared it through Zoom, and then Zoom didn't allow me to upload it from my computer. So I had to actually skip that step because it automatically converted it when I shared it through Google Drive.
You weren't able to upload the file?
Not from my desktop, only from
that's
Google
weird.
Drive.
I have the file transfer enabled. Thanks for sharing that, because then we'll know that we should probably troubleshoot this in advance.
Yeah.
So we don't need to do number
2.
Number 2, no. We don't need to do number.
Well, number five is the upload one. Yeah. So instead of really uploading it,
No,
because
number 6.
number 5 and number 6 kind of already happened. I mean, number 6 happened already because the way we shared it. So skip number 6. Mainly is able to make a copy, move it to that WorkSmart folder, and then rename the title.
Okay, and we can share.
Sorry about that, everybody. I didn't realize that Kealii wasn't able to. Originally, the plan was to share an actual PowerPoint file with you, and then you would download it to your computer, rename it, and then upload it to the Google Drive folder, and then convert that file to a Google Slides, a PowerPoint to Google Slides. And I don't know if there's time, but if there's time, I'm happy to show you guys how to do that. If you want to see how to convert a file, I'm happy to show you guys real quick how to do that.
Forget it.
You can practice activity 2 at a later time since we're running out of time. That was a really easy one. But we wanted you guys to experience what it's like to collaborate at the same time.
That's hard.
And you can see everybody's work happening at the same time. This can happen, asynchronously or at different times as well, but you can sort of see in real time when everybody's working on the document as well. So
if 2 or more people are working on the document, a Google Doc, can you add, who will the page take the revisions from first? It'll take all of them at the same time?
All of them at the same time. So everything happens in real time.
Oh, okay. So it won't.
You and I can be typing at the same time, and Google Doc is gonna know all of that and just make all the changes at the same time.
Oh, even if we're on the same document, someone stay on the top, I'm on the bottom, and it'll still. Oh, okay.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's kind of, funny, like when you're working on a document and you got multiple pages, if you're like on page 5, and somebody's working on page 3 and there extends, all of a sudden your cursor moves somewhere else.
Yeah. And we all have different,
yeah.
It gives us different colors too, yeah.
Yes. Nicole, how you doing? You have any specific questions? Oh, you're muted. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay. I think I'm okay. It's just finding this stuff, like searching for them.
So, the best thing to do when someone shares a document with you is organize it the way you need it to be. So if Kealii shares a document with me, like on this project that we're working on for your PD, I created a folder, I shared it with him, and anything that we work on or create for this particular project, I immediately put it in that folder. But if he created a document and didn't immediately put it in a folder but shared it with me, I go to the shared with me, look for it, and then I move it to the folder. So the way you organize your files on your desktop, on your computer, it's very much exactly the same way in the cloud. So whenever someone shares a file with you, just move it to a folder that you want. You can create your own folder and store the files any way that you want, or you can share a folder to collaborate with someone. So you just sort of have to communicate. If you create a folder that you want to share with Kim for ABC project, create the folder, share it with her, send her that notification to say, hey, Kim, I created a folder for us to share for ABC project. Please add all relevant files into this folder. So whenever somebody adds a file that has access to the folder, you'll see all of that happening there.
Okay.
And when they add it to the folder, it automatically gives you that permission that you have with the folder. So if your folder is editor permission and Kim adds a document into that folder, Google's going to ask Kim, do you want to share this document in this group folder or shared the folder that you shared with someone at the same level of editing privileges? And she'll say yes, and then you'll have that editing privilege.
Okay.
So it removes all of the other steps that you would normally have to do. When you create a document, you don't have to like every document share it with Kim and then give her the permission. If you create the folder becomes the parent, if you will.
Share it.
And anything in that folder inherits the permission of the folder. So it eliminates all those other steps. You can just say, create this Google slide, add it in the folder, Kim's gonna have that same permission. Unless you go into the file and change the permission, yeah.
Okay.
So it makes, it eliminates all those extra steps. That's a really good question though.
Because it's 11:20, we're gonna break for lunch, and then if anybody wants to contact Laureen to go more into detail and learn about it, feel free. But lunch is here at our office. You can come and pick it up from me or Nicole. We're here in the dean's office waiting. Just remember, we'll be logging back on at 11:30 to meet with the HGEA representative. So that's about 10 minutes from now. Just to let you know, we did run a little late with this, but thank you, Laureen. Thank you, Kealii. You guys
Thanks,
so
you guys.
Thank you for
Mahalo, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.